All right, let's talk about Jordan Davis. Why don't we? The defensive player for the Philadelphia Eagles was a first-round pick, and I thought when he was on the field looked very good, but he didn't get a ton of playing time. He ended the year with just 270 snaps, and still was getting consistent, double-digit snaps, but kind of like low double-digit snaps. Like played 10 snaps in the Super Bowl, 16 in the conference championship. That's kind of where he was floating around for most of the season. But I thought he made the most of the small sample size throughout the season. And let's talk about what he was able to do effectively. Going to start off with this play, going up one-on-one against a center. And this is what Davis can really, I think what Philadelphia is hoping that he can really bring to the table, be sort of this, Vita Vea type, like with Tampa Bay, be a guy who's just a big body who you can't block with one guy, essentially, and has the athleticism to still, move and make plays happen. Right when this play begins, you see how it's really the right hand of Davis that I think is making the play right here, as the center is trying to get that right hand onto Davis's sort of, pec area of his body, maybe even shoulder pad area, but as of right now, because Davis has grabbed onto that hand and they're basically just holding hands right here, he can't do that, meaning that while there is a running lane in that area, Davis could quickly clog it up if he chooses to do so. So when the run goes there, Davis is able to easily get off that block and make something like that happen. Everyone talks about with Davis the size and the athleticism, right? That's just what's going to get talked about with him because he is huge and is athletic. So obviously, it makes sense to talk about that stuff with him. But technique always matters with this stuff. And I think technique is always underlooked and tends to come into play. And for someone like Jordan Davis, the fact that he has very good technique is definitely part of what allows him to be a very effective player and allowed him to, really show up on film even when he was only playing, less than 20 snaps or just over 20 snaps a game. Like this play is going to be another one. We're again going to be one-on-one against a center. And this is just what makes things so difficult is when you have these nose tackles that just line up against centers, what do you do in this spot? I mean, do you just always have a guard come over and help them out? Well, in this situation, you can't, right? It's part of what makes a 3-4 defense so difficult is, as of right now, if you have 5 offensive linemen in the game and there's 5 Philadelphia players who are currently on the line, okay, you do have a tight end who's, also blocking on this play, but still, what exactly do you do in this spot? It's a fair question. So watch what's going to happen with Davis specifically, because, one-on-one matchup against a center, and watch how really quickly, watch again, that right hand, how his right hand is kind of on the center's left shoulder pad area, and he's just going to, really very quickly get by him. I mean, watch how he is able to easily get around him and gets to the running back for an immediate tackle for a loss. Again, that's just a really good play from a really good player, and these are the kind of things that Davis has shown that he can do, is make these splash plays, again, relatively consistently. I mean, when you watch his tape, he is able to pretty consistently make stuff like that happen, which is very cool to see. Also, moving on to this play, I have to say, one of the critiques I had of Jordan Davis coming out of college was I saw him at times take plays off. It's something that definitely was something he did in college. And anytime you bring that up, it's always a touchy subject because it can be very easily misconstrued as an attack on someone's character. Oh, you don't love football enough. You're not willing to try hard to accomplish something like make a tackle, which is definitely not how I tend to view taking plays off. Usually I view it as you just don't have the energy to go and you're kind of forced to take a play off. That's obviously not always the case, and there are times when players are just being lazy, but in Jordan Davis's case, given his size, I'm more inclined to believe that he just legitimately took some plays off in college because he just didn't have the gas at that point. But that being said, it's still definitely a potential concern. Will he have the energy to go in the NFL level to get, when he gets more playing time? And we still haven't seen him with more playing time, but still, in the small sample size that we have seen from him, I was actually, on the other end, impressed with his, his will in some of these plays and his motor on some of these plays. I thought that he actually did a pretty good job at not giving up and not taking plays off. And maybe maybe the Eagles saw it on his college tape and said, hey, you can't do that here. And he's, gotten himself in better shape and been able to not allow that to happen. Maybe they just are better at rotating him out when he is tired or whatever. But like, this is a great example of, I think, him doing a good job on this play of finding a way to make an impact. Watch how when it begins, okay, you see he gets blocked a little bit at the line, but it's a run to the other side of the field. And the reality is, if he just jogs over to the other side of the field, I don't think anyone would realistically have a major issue with it. I mean, you're a defensive lineman. You know, it is difficult for a big guy to sprint 20 yards down the field like that. You know, maybe save your energy for the next rep. But Davis really didn't do that. Watch him, you know, really hustle over, and he is going to be the one who makes that tackle right there. That's a great hustle play from Davis. So this is, you know, I think great to see. And again, what's the reason for it? Why have, you know, I've seen this all of a sudden Davis become a very high motor player? You know, I'm willing to say part of it is probably just the Eagles are using him right. That's what my guess would be, is that they're not forcing him to be out there when he's gassed. When he is, they just say, hey, don't worry about it. You know, we'll have someone else come in, and that kind of allows him to really get the most out of his snaps, which they certainly did last year, I thought. Like, something like this is another interesting example where he's once again going to be lined up one-on-one against a center, and watch really what happens right when this play begins. So you see right over here, you're going to see that he gets his right arm kind of on that left sort of, you know, side of the center's body that he's going up against. Does drive him back a little bit, and again, is trying to basically put himself in position where if the run comes relatively in his area, he now can get off of the contact and get over and make a play. Due to the outstretched arm and the fact that he did push this center further back, at this point, if you're trying to make sure that you can block Davis out of the way, it's really kind of difficult to do it at this point without holding. And so when Davis does get over, he's barely touched, and again, he's able to go over and make a quick tackle. He was very effective in the running game, and for a guy who would come in on a lot of first downs, he would constantly do his role very effectively, which is obviously awesome to see. Like, I think this plays another example of just, again, him winning his matchup, him finding a way to impact the play, which is what you want to see him do. Because, again, there's two ways you could take it. You could look at it as, is he ever going to be Aaron Donald? That's what we want to see out of him. If you're looking at that, that's never going to be his game. That's not who he is as a player. Kind of the whole thing about Jordan Davis is he's a bit of a one-trick pony, but that trick is awesome. Like, he's great at that trick. And to me, that's what we saw from Jordan Davis last year. Watch him again be able to really win this one-on-one matchup significantly, and he gets over and is able to make that quick tackle. And these are the kind of things he did consistently when he was out there in the NFL. So, again, you could sit here, I think the debate you could argue, if you're a Jordan Davis hater or if you're an Eagles hater and you want to become a Jordan Davis hater, I think the argument you would probably give against Jordan Davis is you would say something like, okay, sure, he's been able to come in and do that, but sure, for 15 snaps a game, that's not that impressive, that's not that valuable, and that might be an interesting argument, but the reality is, for what he is, he's amazing, and there definitely is still plenty of value in a guy who can be a great run stuffer, and I also think that I expect him to get more than 270 snaps next season. I think that the snap count will go up, and if the snap count does go up, I'm just interested in seeing how well he will play, and I think that he will still be, I think he'll add more value that way with more of a snap count, even if he's not quite as good on a snap-to-snap basis. He should still be, again, gives him more time, allows him to kind of get back into that NFL shape and kind of get adjusted to the NFL. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if he becomes a star player in the next couple of years, because he's already playing like one now in a small sample size. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.